I will never forget what my mom said that day. "Why don't you give that car to your stingy wife?" she sneered, loud enough for everyone to hear. It was her 50th birthday, and I had just handed her the keys to a restored Mercedes-Benz, the same kind she used to drive back in the late 80s. I had spent $13,400 on it, hoping it would bring back good memories. But after that comment, I had enough. I told her she would not get another dime from me, and I meant it. That was the end of it. I shut off the money, blocked their numbers, and walked away from the whole mess. The storm really broke the day before. I went to sleep thinking maybe things would cool down overnight, like a summer thunderstorm passing through. But I woke up to a disaster. My phone lit up with 44 missed calls, 19 voicemails, and more than 30 unread text messages. At the top of the list was my mom's name. Right behind her were my aunts, and then my cousin Marcus. I just stared at the screen, stunned, like I had been rear-ended hours ago, and was only now feeling the impact. The day before had been her big birthday celebration, which just so happened to be tied to one of those so-called healing family get-togethers. No one wanted to be there, but we all showed up anyway. That's how it works in my family. Guilt trumps reason every time. A couple years back, my mom basically turned my wife, Lena, into public enemy number one in the family. That happened right after I refused to invest in yet another one of Marcus's shady business schemes. Lena had not even opened her mouth during the whole thing, but Mom pinned it on her like she was some kind of secret puppet master. It was not just a light insult either. It was an all-out verbal attack. My mom called Lena low-class, phony, and manipulative. Then my aunts piled on like it was feeding time. Lena just stood up and walked out. Did not argue, did not yell. We still went to the party yesterday, though. That is just the kind of people we are. I was not trying to make some big scene. I was not trying to show off. I just wanted to do something from the heart. So I bought the car. Not just any car, the car. The same model of 1987 Mercedes she used to drive when I was a kid. She loved that car. She said it made her feel special, like she was more than just some small-town woman, like she carried secrets the rest of the world could not touch. I found the car all the way out in Bozeman, Montana. It was in perfect shape. Had it shipped over, cleaned it up, tied a ribbon around the hood. I did not make a speech or call everyone over. I just quietly handed her the keys while folks were drinking orange juice on the porch, pretending like we were some picture-perfect family. She walked up to it, stared like it was a cruel joke, then looked me in the eyes and said, "Seriously, give those to your cheap wife." She said it like it was the most natural thing in the world, not even mean, just matter of fact. Her sisters laughed like it was the best thing they had heard all day. Marcus filmed the whole thing with his phone. My dad stood there, ghost pale, staring into a shrub like he wanted to vanish. I said nothing, took the keys back, slid into the driver's seat, and drove away. Lena followed, climbed in beside me, and we left. Neither of us said a word. Next morning, I listened to the voicemails. First one, Mom crying, saying I embarrassed her in front of everyone. Second, she was furious, said I had ruined everything. Third one was Aunt Joyce, telling me to grow up and learn how to laugh. But here is what none of them know. For the last 3 years, I have been quietly keeping their lives from falling apart. When my dad lost his job and bills started piling up, I stepped in. I paid for their new appliances, their anniversary trip to Galveston, even their spa days and groceries. Marcus's dental work? That was me, too. Month after month, I covered it all. Never said a word. Never asked for a thank you. My dad barely managed a thank you now and then, but mostly stayed quiet to keep the peace. After we got home from the birthday disaster, I sat down, logged into my bank accounts, and shut it all off. I canceled every automatic payment, unlinked every shared account. Even the secret savings I had built to cover their property taxes. Gone. By lunchtime, I got a text from Dad. "She's freaking out. The bank called. I didn't mention your name." Then Mom messaged Lena. "Happy now? Hope your free ride was worth it, you cheapskate." Lena looked at the message once, set her phone down, and asked me calmly for the spare keys to my mom's house. No tears. No yelling. She walked out. About an hour later, she came back. "I slapped your mom," she said, like she was talking about the weather. Then she poured herself a cup of coffee, sat down, and opened her laptop like it was any other Tuesday. But the drama was far from over. Around 4 o'clock, my dad showed up at our front door. He was alone. No car. Just walked all the way over. He told me my mom had thrown him out after she realized all the money was gone. She accused him of hiding the funds and sending them to another woman. Said she had even talked to a lawyer. Supposedly, she was trying to lock him out of his own retirement savings. And just when I thought things could not possibly get worse, Aunt Elaine pulled up in her car, eyes red, mascara running down her cheeks, suitcase in the back seat. Aunt Elaine showed up crying, eyes red and face swollen. "I left your uncle," she said through tears. "I just found out where all that money really came from. Your mom lied to us." She had believed my mother's story, that the cash was from her online craft shop. Elaine had even quit her own job last year, hoping to follow in her footsteps. Now she had nothing left. She asked if she could crash at our place for a few days. Lena, calm as ever, just looked at her and said, "You can sleep in the car your sister turned her nose up at." Now it is night. Everyone's gone. The house is quiet, and I am sitting in the dark, typing this out because it is the only thing that makes any sense right now. Writing helps me keep it all straight. But what comes next? That might be the worst part. At 8 o'clock this morning, the family group chat, one of those corny ones called Fam Bam Forever that I forgot I was even in, just exploded. The alerts would not stop buzzing, so I opened it. At first, it was just one voice message after another from my mom, all of them a mess of sobbing and words like public embarrassment, immature payback, and emotional torture. Then Elaine sent a single message that hit like a brick. "Jordan paid for your whole life, you ungrateful witch." I just sat there, staring at the screen, not moving. Turns out, when Elaine came over last night, she did more than just walk out on her husband. She brought proof. She had screenshots of years' worth of bank transfers, labeled vaguely but obviously from me. Things like furniture purchases, airline tickets, even the first deposit on that high-end wellness retreat my mom went on last year. Mom ignored the receipts at first. Then she sent this long voice message, so long it had to be split into 3 separate files. Her voice cracked like the world had turned upside down. She said she felt controlled, like I had been pulling her strings all this time. And then she said something that made me feel sick. No real son would let his wife lay a hand on his own mother. That slap was abuse. Just then, Lena walked in with her coffee. She looked at the screen, read the message, and said, real calm, "She actually said that?" Then she grabbed her phone and uploaded a video I had never even seen before. It was a recording she had taken at the reunion, right after the car scene and right before we drove off. It showed my mom standing in the driveway with her sisters, all of them giggling, mocking the car. Then Mom said, "He's always been weak. Now he's broke too. Let him believe this garbage is love." The chat went dead silent for a full hour. Then, out of nowhere, Marcus jumped in. "And Joyce says she's gonna sue if she doesn't get her money back. Her pool loan didn't go through." And that is when it finally clicked. I had not just been covering for my parents. Somehow, someway, either they gave out access or Mom funneled money directly, but her sisters had been tapping into that account too. It was like they thought it was some kind of family fund, like I was their personal bank. I got in touch with the bank again and locked the whole account. The last $4,250 got moved into a holding account under my name while we sorted everything out. But just before noon, Dad texted me again. He had more news, and it tipped the whole thing over the edge. "She's talking to lawyers," he wrote. "She's trying to say the car is shared property." Yes, the same $13,000 Mercedes she mocked in front of everyone. Now she wanted to claim it as hers. Lena actually laughed for the first time in days. A full laugh. Then she said, "She wants to take you to court over the same car she said belonged in a scrapyard?" Then, at exactly 3 o'clock, I got a phone call from a number I did not recognize. I answered it. The man on the other end said he was representing my mom legally. He said they were investigating suspicious transactions over the last 3 years and were considering filing criminal charges for financial fraud unless I paid the money back. I told him to go ahead. I would stand in court any day and lay out the entire paper trail, every receipt, every bank statement, every dollar spent on her vacations, spa visits, and shopping trips. While she was out there telling folks my dad was off investing in some shady digital currency hustle. Then I hung up the phone. At 5:42 p.m., Lena got one more message. The next message that came in was from Marcus. He wrote, "I had no clue she shared your financial info with Clara. I'm really sorry, man." He said Mom told him the money came from family savings. Then, at 6:10 in the evening, Aunt Joyce sent a photo. She was crying, sitting in her kitchen with an empty pool behind her, just a big hole in the backyard. She said the job couldn't move forward unless I sent more cash. She swore she never realized Mom was being dishonest. She believed the money was from some kind of long-term savings plan I had set up for the family's future. And I sat there, staring at my screen, wondering what kind of savings account pays for beachside cocktails and lip injections for people who mock my wife. Now it's 10:57 p.m. Lena is asleep downstairs. I've got a mug of tea in my hands, just thinking how this is somehow only the second day since the fallout started. It already feels like it's been weeks, and the blast has barely even gone off. The day kicked off with a knock at the front door. I figured it was a package, maybe something Lena ordered, or even my dad stopping by again to apologize. Nope. It was a law enforcement officer. He handed me a plain manila envelope and said I had officially been served. I let out a short laugh, half thinking it was some kind of joke. But inside was no prank, it was a court-issued protective order. My mother had filed it against Lena. According to the papers, Lena was now legally barred from coming within 100 feet of any place my mother lives, works, or finds peace. That last part, finds peace, what does that even mean? Does it include spas? Her favorite supermarket? A meditation center? The accusation? Physical assault during an emotional crisis. I did not wake Lena right away. She was still sleeping peacefully, and I just stood there in the hallway, holding the paper like it was a bad script from a bad play. Then my phone buzzed again. Marcus messaged, "Wait, did she really hit Aunt Beverly?" Then Joyce chimed in furious. "You have no idea what you've done. Your mother's terrified. She hasn't slept. She's scared of Lena." Lena, the same woman who cried for 10 straight minutes after accidentally washing a spider down the bathroom sink. By midday, my dad called. His voice sounded strange, nervous, but oddly lighter. "I'm out," he said. "I'm staying at a motel." He told me everything went downhill fast after Mom heard from her lawyer. She lost it, threw his phone at the wall and shattered it. Screamed that she was going to find herself a real husband, someone who would not let his child embarrass her. When Dad told her there was no secret cash and the accounts were empty, she didn't grab her own bags. She packed his and left them on the front porch. So he grabbed the car and left. No phone charger, no toothbrush, nothing. And then he told me something that stopped me cold. You know that Etsy shop she's always bragging about? She never sold a thing. All those packages she posts about? They're empty boxes. She mails them to herself. I had no response. Nothing I could say. Lena finally woke up around 2 in the afternoon. I told her about the restraining order. She just gave a small nod, stayed quiet, then went upstairs and started packing her suitcase. I panicked. I thought she was leaving me. I followed her, asking what was going on. She glanced over her shoulder and said, "I'm going to Nevada." "Nevada?" I asked. "Why?" "To meet your grandmother." Now here's the real kicker. I have not spoken to my grandmother, my mom's mom, in over a decade. My mother cut her out of our lives completely. Called her toxic, manipulative, and selfish. Turns out Lena had been talking to her secretly for a while. "I just needed to see if this runs in the family," she said. At exactly 4 o'clock, Lena boarded a flight to Flagstaff. She went alone. I stayed behind. I paced around the house like a wild animal, not sure if I was angry, confused, numb, or just shocked at how insane everything had gotten in 2 days. Then, right when I thought it could not get any weirder, I got an email from a local television news station. The subject line read like something off a gossip site. Headline request, family feud involving local entrepreneur. I clicked on it, and sure enough, there it was. My mother had spoken with a lifestyle writer she knew from Pilates. She had spun the whole situation into some tragic soap opera about domestic betrayal, money abuse, and emotional scars. She painted herself as the victim, used phrases like trapped by finances and physically threatened. There was even a photo, her in a silky bathrobe, holding a cup of tea, staring out the window like she was grieving a lost love instead of trying to bury the truth. The story hadn't gone live yet. The journalist was giving me a chance to comment before it was published. But it was obvious, Mom had written herself into the lead role of some fantasy where she was the fragile hero, wronged by the people around her. It was 11:19 p.m. I had not replied. Hadn't eaten. Lena had just landed in Nevada. She sent me one message. "Your mom faked fainting at a funeral to get attention. I'm starting to see the pattern." This had never really been about the car or the slap or even the money. Lena had put it clearly. It was about someone who had turned life into her own play. A play where she was always the misunderstood lead, and the rest of us were just props, filling in the background. But that was over now. I could not sleep. I sat in the kitchen with the lights off, staring at the email, Lena's message about my grandmother running through my head. The silence around me felt staged, too perfect, too calm, like the pause before something big breaks. I used to think my life was stable, even if it was messy sometimes. Now it felt like I was watching it fall apart in full-blown high definition. Then, at 7:03 in the morning, my phone rang. It was Lena. She sounded wide awake, clear as day. That surprised me. She'd just flown across the country. "Are you okay?" I asked. "I've never felt better," she said. Then she told me everything. She had spent the whole night talking with my grandmother, the same woman Mom said was insane, manipulative, and untrustworthy. Turns out none of that was true. Or at least, not in the way Mom told it. They had stayed up until morning drinking coffee, reading through old journals and paperwork. And then came the real shocker. My mother had not broken ties with her own mom because of some dramatic falling out. She cut her off because she had forged her name on legal documents tied to a family trust. A trust one had never even heard of. And apparently, I was listed as one of the rightful beneficiaries. Suddenly, this wasn't just about pride or petty drama anymore. This was a criminal matter. My mother, who had always acted like she was some self-made success story, had been dipping into a fund she had no right to touch. And not just for herself, but for her sisters too, masking the withdrawals as made-up medical costs. By 10 o'clock, Lena had already spoken with a lawyer in Flagstaff who specializes in financial crimes involving elder abuse. And by noon, my grandmother had signed a formal legal statement, confirming everything. It was full-on fraud. Serious charges. And as wild as it all sounded, the worst part still hadn't shown up yet. That came in the form of another message from Marcus. "Dude, your mom used my info to lease a car." He was dead serious. 2 years earlier, she had co-signed for a luxury SUV using his name and social security number. He thought she was just helping with a down payment. Turns out she used his profile to boost her credit rating and lock in the deal. Now, he was trying to trade the car in, and the dealership told him the entire loan was under his name. The balance was still open. Right after that, and Elaine, the one who had shown up crying with her suitcase, sent Lena a message asking how to file a restraining order against my mom. She explained that leaving her husband had opened her eyes. Mom had spent years feeding her lies, convincing her she was weak, incapable, just background noise in life, never the one with a voice. The whole family structure was crumbling. But for once, it wasn't crumbling around my mother. It was crumbling away from her. Then came a call from my dad. He told me he had already spoken with an attorney that morning. He was filing for divorce. And not just that, he was also planning to seek financial compensation for all those years he carried the appearance of being the breadwinner, when in reality, my support had made it seem like my mother was the one pulling the weight. On paper, his income was less than hers, because I had filled in the gaps in secret. And now that paper trail was working in his favor. Turns out, my dad did qualify for spousal compensation. You could hear the change in his voice, calm, sure of himself, like a man who had finally surfaced after holding his breath for 30 years. And the best part? He told her the truth. He admitted it all, that I had been the one paying for her lifestyle. That the mystery income she kept bragging about, the one she claimed came from hard work or some divine blessing, was actually just me. The same son she called weak. The same one whose wife she publicly humiliated. She lost it. She smashed a vase. She screamed about betrayal. She said she was going to take legal action against me for emotional damage. Then at exactly 6 o'clock that evening, the lifestyle reporter sent me another message. "Just finished interviewing your Aunt Elaine. Finalizing the piece. She had a lot to say. Let me know if you want to give a closing statement." So that soft, sad little tale my mom tried to sell, about being the brave woman mistreated by her cruel daughter-in-law, had transformed. It was no longer just a feature story. It had become a full investigation, packed with records, interviews, and receipts. Lena got home that night. We shared some Thai takeout in silence. Not because we were upset with each other, we were just worn out, completely drained from how fast everything had fallen apart. Then, at exactly 9:42 p.m., I got a message from my mother. Her first direct contact since she told me to give the car to my cheap wife. She wrote, "Hope you're happy now. You've torn this family apart." I did not write back. Because for the first time in a long time, I was happy, not about the wreckage, but about finally cutting through the lies she had built her whole image on. The next morning at 8:02, the article went live. The headline read, "The Woman Who Wasn't Bankrupt. A closer look at one family's secrets and power games." It hit hard. It was honest. My grandmother gave a full recorded statement. Aunt Elaine shared her experience on the record. Even Marcus opened up about how she had used his identity to lease a luxury car and left him holding the debt. The article included screenshots from the family group chat, financial records, and even snippets from emails she had sent to her yoga group. In one, she referred to Lena as a sneaky little street mutt my son dragged in. The last lines of the story were mine. I had written them myself. I said, I thought I was being loyal by helping the people who raised me, but I was just paying rent to someone who treated motherhood like a stage role. I never even opened my social media. I did not need to. Within an hour, my phone was lighting up with messages, childhood friends, cousins I hadn't talked to in years, even my boss. One text simply said, finally. By midday, my dad messaged me from his motel room. She read the piece, he wrote. She hasn't said a word since. Then he added something else. She asked if there's still time to fix it. He didn't respond to her, just stepped outside and lit a cigarette, the first one he had smoked in 10 years. That afternoon, her sisters vanished from the internet. One deleted her account entirely. The other posted a story that read, "Strong women always attract jealousy." Nobody replied. Then at 4:30, my phone rang. No caller ID. I knew who it was. She didn't say hello. Just launched into it. Angry, dramatic, full of blame. You embarrassed me, she said. You ruined my reputation. Lena turned you against me. Then she said, maybe I could have been softer, but you made me act this way. I let her talk. I said nothing. That's when I said to her, you controlled everything. You wrote the whole script. I just stopped playing the part. There was silence. Then I added, this is it. I'm done. Don't call me again. And I hung up the phone. After 38 years, the story was over. No revenge. No yelling. Just the truth. Lena and I ordered a pizza and sat on the living room carpet to eat. We did not celebrate. We did not toast. We just sat there in the quiet, soaking in what it felt like to finally tell someone no, for the first time in their life. As for my mother, she now sits in the stillness she created. No audience. No performance. No spotlight. Just her. Exactly the way she wrote the ending. Except this time, no one stayed to watch. 3 days later, the final update dropped. Hey Reddit, I wrote. Just coming back with a follow-up, since a lot of you asked what happened after the story came out. So here it is, probably the quietest, coldest ending to a family meltdown I've ever seen. First, thank you. The people who reached out with kindness, you helped more than you know. I did not expect anything when I shared the first post. I just needed to let it out. What I didn't expect was the flood of messages from strangers saying they had lived through something almost identical. It blew me away. Now, the aftermath, it's over. Not fixed. Not healed. Just done. That article hit like a wrecking ball. The little local lifestyle blog that published it, it got picked up by 2 bigger media outlets nearby. They loved the story. The picture-perfect suburban mom secretly draining her son's bank account, wrecking his credit, and turning the whole family against his wife. They even made a podcast about it. Less than 48 hours later, my mom deleted everything. Her social media accounts, her phone number, her email. My dad officially filed for divorce the next morning. His lawyer sent the paperwork, and from what he told me, she did not argue. She signed and sent it back. Her yoga studio dropped her. Not because of the drama. They're used to drama. But because the article revealed she had faked a donation under someone else's name to cheat on her taxes. Marcus filed a formal complaint about the car loan. His credit score took a hit, but he hired a real attorney, and it is being investigated. Aunt Elaine moved in with a friend and got a job shelving books at a small local library. She told me it feels peaceful, like emotional rehab. She has not spoken to Mom since for the first time in her life. Lena, she is glowing. Quiet, but free in a way I haven't seen in years. She gave the reporter the video of the slap, anonymously, and never looked back. We are planning a trip soon. Just the 2 of us. Somewhere simple, boring, and far away from all this. And my grandmother? She made Lena her medical power of attorney and redid her will. I am no longer listed in it, and that's okay. Lena earned that spot. She kept us grounded during those 2 weeks in a way I never could over 3 decades. And my mom? She is still living in that same house, alone. Dad told me she started using her maiden name again. Maybe she thinks scrubbing the family name can erase the mess. But I doubt she will leave. People like her do not disappear. They just shrink their world and build smaller stages to keep performing. But this time, there is no one left to clap. The family chat has not lit up since the story dropped. No more dinners. No more forced reunions. No more spotlight. She always needed an audience. Now, all she has is the echo of a show nobody stayed for. That's everything. That's the end.